Hi, I'm Anna Winter. Do you love listening to Low Profile? There are several ways you can support this show. You can sign up for flexible monthly donations at patreon.com/lowprofile at the cost of a cup of coffee once a month. If you join the Patreon community, you can get advance episode releases, behind-the-scenes exclusives, and early access to merchandise. If you can't contribute financially, it always helps if you tell a friend about your favorite episodes, share about Low Profile on social media, subscribe for free on your favorite podcast platform, and give us a rating and review whenever you listen. Low Profile also receives in-kind support thanks to these independent Olympia businesses: San Francisco Street Bakery, Schwartz's Deli, Rainy Day Records, Old School Pizzeria, and Schurler Easy Premium Shitty American Lager from Three Magnets Brewing Company. And most of all, thanks to you, the listener, for tuning in. Now, let's get to today's show.
From KAOS 89.3 in Olympia and Ruinous Media, I'm Mark Lee Morrison, and you're listening to Low Profile. Today, we're examining a hidden gem from 1984, lovingly crafted by a 19-year-old keyboardist living in Denmark. To help us explore this record, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest host, Ashley Erickson, who's taken the reins today to guide us through this conversation. Ashley's been on the show as a guest discussing her solo material back in 2020, and you might also be familiar with her work in the band Lake. Joining Ashley today is the artist herself, Anna Tina. Now based on the island of La Gomera in the Canary Islands, Anna Tina takes us back to Denmark in the 80s, a time of financial crisis where, amidst the struggle, she found a way to cultivate her own life and quality through a deeply versatile musical education. We're diving into the process behind her debut, the pivot from classical training to the world of pop, her meticulous multi-track recording methods, and the story of how she balanced a professional life in hotels and cruise ships with her own artistic vision. Before I hand it over to Ashley, let's hear a tune from Anna Tina's self-titled record, which was reissued in 2025 on vinyl by Frederiksberg Records.
Give mig chance. world are you?
Right now I'm in Denmark because I'm on a little small vacation here.
Okay.
But I am based in a small island out in the Atlantic Ocean.
What is that island called?
Yeah, the island is called La Gomera. It is a part of the Canary Islands. I have lived there since 2010.
Okay. We are talking today because you have this amazing album from when you were 19 years old that has been re-released recently. And we've tracked you down and we're so excited to talk to you. So yeah, this album is from 1984, and help us paint the scene, like what was going on when you were 19 and what was Denmark like for people who don't know what Denmark was like. It's a small country.
Yeah. Denmark was in a big crisis. We had the financial crisis in the 80s, and the government gave us the potato cure, so people were saving money everywhere. But I think the young people maybe even more enjoyed their youth and their life because we did not really want to be part of those crises. So we tried to create our own life quality. And I did it very much through my music. I have played the piano and the organ since I was 5. I think even earlier, but I started taking lessons at 5. And in 84, I was already playing professionally. I left school when I turned a little over 16 and studied classical music and also studied swing and jazz. I had teachers from both worlds. One teacher was teaching me the Hammond organ and the swing and the jazz, and the other teacher was strictly classical from the conservatory in Copenhagen. So I had both of them and I enjoyed both. To me, I think my life was music from a very early age and carried on. And that was the reason why I left school, and my parents said, okay, because they could see that my education should not be from the school, it should be specialized in music.
You left regular school at some point to do like home study, or what kind of program?
In Denmark, you can leave school legally after 9 years in the school. Or you can take an extra, so you take 10 years in total, which I did because that was a little bit more extended. And then the plan was to study at the Royal Conservatory of Classical Music. So I left and I studied really, really intensive classical music. But before I even entered the classical conservatory, I was offered work as a professional pianist and a Hammond organ player. It was not really combinable, everything. So instead of going into school, I just carried on studying the classical, but worked alongside. And in the end, I left the studies and just went with the flow.
So your background musically was more in classical and jazz and swing, and then when you made your album, it's more pop. So did you think of that as doing something different than what you were doing kind of in school? How did you end up making a pop album?
I wanted to try it out. I have always believed in versatility. I like abundance of most of everything, more or less, in my life. I like to wear different kinds of clothes, different kinds of food, different kinds of way to spend my free time. Within the music, different styles and rhythms. My taste in music is also versatile, from Beethoven to Diana Ross to, Eric Clapton, the Beatles, the Simon and Garfunkel. So I think I just thought it could be fun to try to make an album with the pop. There is a little bit of country and western in some of the rhythms as well on the album. It's a very rebellious song. It's about, I don't know, have you understood the text?
No, I pick out little words here and there that I hear, but I can't get all the lyrics in the songs, and I understand the titles.
Yes, okay. But that was a good example of a little bit of a country and western inspired written combined with the pop. And some of the solos, especially when I play the Hammond organ, are definitely very much inspired from the jazzy and swing world. So I put things together, and my main goal is that it harmonizes. It has to be in harmony somehow, and express joy and happiness. Also dreams and a wish to explore more, you know. There's a lot of that in the words as well. And the one you were singing, Kyrkedordi, is about this young girl coming home, and she doesn't care. She just throws her jacket below where it should hang, and she takes the last makeup off because now she wants beauty sleep. She doesn't have wings. She wants to be able to be free and just live her life in her own healthy way without people interfering. That's the story behind the Kyrkedordi.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, so I was picking up on that last night. It does seem like you were being reflective about your age and that time in your life. So that's maybe talking about youth. And isn't there's a song, Emit Efterår? What is that song about?
That's a love story.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's in my autumn. I'm reflecting back of a love that I had, and I'm missing this person. And I remember when we were lying together in the sunshine, and now walking alone in the forest, thinking back of all the happy memories. And I'm saying, only you can understand why I miss you. And that's another thing, because all my songs, all my melodies are reflecting a huge respect for the nature. They're combining dreams and nature. So nearly every lyric of each song has something to do with either walking in the forest or after the rain, I watch the raindrops. There's a lot of admiration for the nature because I find so much harmony and peace there, and a lot of inspiration. So that is reflecting in my song lyrics.
So, as a 19-year-old writing this album, it's so inspired and so fully formed. You have so many ideas, and it sounds like you were really enjoying yourself, that the joy was important, and there's all this poetry. And did you enjoy the process and want to do it again at the time? Or after you made it, did you feel done, like you never needed to make another pop album again?
No, I definitely enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I always felt very welcome in the studio. There was a good atmosphere. There was a grand piano at my disposal. I brought in my own Hammond organ and my keyboards. It was for me like in the studio, my dream, because in my head I had the full sound of the whole band, but I was playing all the instruments via my keyboards, and I had the sound of it all together. But of course, I cannot play it all together, so it was played track on track and track on top of each other, and step by step, it came alive. So then I would start with the drums because that's kind of the heartbeat, and when you have the drums, you can then put all the rest on top. So then you take, for instance, the bass, or you take the piano voice. The last that I put on was the singing. That was kind of the finish, the final finish to put the lyrics on. But all the backing and all the solos, all the harmonies, sometimes like something like a string orchestra, or like a little harp, a little pan flute. Before I came into the studio, I had been purchasing a multi-track recorder. So in my little apartment, that was almost just the room for my grand piano and a sofa and a little kitchen. In there, I had been recording all the instruments with my computers step by step, and experimenting. So, maybe that solo is too long, so I would make it shorter, or I would decide a little bit more harp, a little bit more place for the singing voice. And here I want my Hammond organ, and here would be nice with the Fender Rhodes, and in that way I built it up. And it was all written down. Because of my classical training, it for me was natural to write it down in notes. So in the studio I had it all like a music sheet, a big partiture. The same as if you had an orchestra. The director of the orchestra would read that, and each musician would have his own little sheet with the voice that he was playing, and I had all of them on top of each other, so my sheet were high.
Wow. So you were very efficient then. You were well rehearsed and you had your notes for the recording process. So now that you're describing your process, I'm wondering, is there another version of this album that exists that was on your multi-track recorder?
There would have been, but yeah, I have not kept it. But there was, yes.
Did you continue to use the multi-track after this album? Were you recording more ideas on there?
Yes, it was so fun to do that. I would have liked to have done more. But I think two things stopped me from that. One was I got really, really busy in my professional life, especially works with my Hammond organ and a trio that I formed, playing jazz. And then I played the piano classically, but I also played contemporary music. And shortly after, I was offered 6 nights a week playing the piano, and did not really find the time to go back in the studio. It was just the time flies.
Mm-hmm. When you do the trio or solo, do you incorporate singing too, or is it usually just solo piano?
No, it depends of the venue. Sometimes I sing and sometimes I don't. When I play with my trio that I don't have any longer, but in those days I had it, it would be mainly with singing as well, because it was music for dancing, and it felt natural to sing. Whereas I wouldn't sing if I played musicals or film music. There was not really singing on it, so that's more focused on the instrumental part. And when you talk about the keyboards, one thing that I was very sad about after that I had done it was the development of the keyboards. They became more and more digitalized. Of course, the sound was digital. You could sample the sound of a pan flute and play with the keys. You could make it sound like a pan flute, but it would be exactly the same notes. You could pre-program it and it could play by itself. It was played manually. And I think when I trained as a classical and I trained with my Hammond organ, I took pride in playing and never being good at programming. I'm no good. I mean, you give me a manual and I go blank. I cannot even open it because it looks so exhausting that I just leave it. And I was sad to see that when you play the keyboards, many assumed that the keyboard was programmed and you hadn't played it. And that was partly the reason why I left it, because I did not really see a future. as a manually playing keyboardist and pianist in that, because you would play it and people would go, oh yeah, it sounds good, but I played it. Or did you play it?
I see what you mean. Yeah, that people listen to music and they don't think what goes into it. They don't realize, oh yeah, somebody played that because it's digital, it's synthetic. That's interesting. Yeah, you're like, no, I played everything.
Yes, I mean, if you were a guitar player, nobody would question, because many people know a little bit to play the guitar and can hear whether it was done manually or whether it was something really artificial. But with the keyboards, it can be difficult to judge. And it's such a pity. You take the Hammond organ that Jimmy Smith and Jack McDuff, Jimmy McGriff would play with such pride, with the foot, with the left hand and the right hand. And then later on, these party organs came, where, all of a sudden the neighbors started playing for birthday parties and earning money, because you could buy small discs that you would put in, and you could get the backing group, you could sing a little bit, you could even have harmonizing, you could buy a machine that would be your choir. You can be a musician programming too, but I prefer to be a manual lead musician, so in order not to be misunderstood, that's part of the reason why I left the keyboards.
Do you think because being a woman, being 19 years old, that people just didn't think that you made it because it's unusual to be a woman that age playing everything, and that it was your vision and it wasn't somebody else's vision?
Maybe, I mean, I have not really thought about it, but you have a point there. That could well be the case. But I don't feel frustrated about the project. It still was fun to do, and I'm happy it was received with such open arms. Several of the tunes here became hits in the radio in Denmark and were played a lot. I mean, I'd switched on the radio and I would often hear myself being played on the radio on my way to work in the evening as a pianist in the hotel.
I never heard this part of the story. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also went on a tour in Denmark where I gave interviews for lots of radio stations who wanted to play it when it was new.
Oh, wow. I would love to hear more about this. So you released the album with this small label. What was the label called?
Eminent Records.
Yeah. Were they sending it to the radio stations?
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it. I think I would suppose for them it's also a part of the plan. It's because they spend time and everything on it.
Yeah.
So they would like something in return as well. So they promote it.
This is Low Profile on KAOS 89.3 Olympia. Today, guest host Ashley Erickson is talking with Danish artist Anna Tina about her self-titled 1984 LP, which was reissued in 2025 by Frederiksberg Records. Let's continue.
I mean, some people, they put out an album and then they didn't do anything after that for other reasons. I mean, there could be some tragic reason, but for you, it just seems like you have had a wonderful life as a musician. Your life just kind of took off and went a different direction, but you were still doing music. So it's fun to talk about all this stuff. So then as a 19, 20-year-old, you put this record out and it's being promoted. And so what was that year or a couple years like then, that people were hearing your music and you did this tour?
It was fun. Just mainly, I can just think it was just really, really fun. I just wanted to have a life where I could play as much as possible music. And all of a sudden, I was offered an opportunity to be versatile and to play on a permanent basis 6 nights a week in a hotel. At that point, later on, I moved on to the cruise ships, and I traveled the world playing on the oceans. And then now I'm back in La Gomera in another hotel where I have a similar arrangements to what I had in Copenhagen when I released the record. I think if I had said no to the permanent security work, I would have been forced, you could say. I would have been staying with the keyboards and the pop and trying to make it there, because that would have been another way to play, to be allowed to play and to be able to make a living for it. So, but it fascinated me also with the piano, and that the way I could combine my classical training with something more like nowadays, not more modern music. I could combine that, and I was even allowed to play Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, the Beatles. I mean, and throw in swing. And it gave me so much freedom, that work. Whereas in the pop, you are very often put in a box, and you need to stay there. And I think I just needed lots of space, abundance, space around me. Like everything, I want more of it. I want more of life, I want more happiness, I want more of the poetry and the nature and all that.
Yeah, I hear that now. I see that now. This band that you put together and you did this small tour, how big was the band and what did they play? How many shows did you do?
Yeah. I played in a hotel as the pianist. And then the manager expressed to me after a while that he would like to try out a new concept that was very popular in those days. It was called dinner dance. So you would have dinner first, and then you would dance, and then you would have a complete evening in the same place. Not having to go to another place to dance, but you could stay, And he offered me, instead of hiring another group to play for the dancing, whether I would like to form an orchestra or a trio. So I took the challenge and said, whoa, that's another thing, not a record, not synthesizers, this is a possibility to try that out. So I got in contact with musician friends, and my little trio was drums, and it was the saxophone, and my saxophone player also played the flute, and then myself on the hammered organ with the foot bass.
So these were popular songs. This wasn't your album.
No, my little tour around Denmark was just visiting radio stations, because there were so many stations who received the record that would like to hear about this new artist that was me. I only did that, only talked about it like we do now.
I see.
And I was already working in the hotel. It was like I took a little holiday and talked to different stations, and then I was back playing again.
Okay. And from the bio from your record, you started playing as a teenager, though, in the hotels, correct?
I was 17 when I became professional full-time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that story. Can you talk about, I guess, your parents? Because I guess I'm also wondering, what were your parents like? Were they musicians too? And I love this story about your dad insisting that you play in hotels if you were going to be playing professionally.
No, he did not insist on that. No.
Okay.
My dad played the double bass. Okay, and he had a hobby because he was a painter and illustrator. But his hobby was playing the double bass alone or sometimes with me, but also from time to time with bands or orchestras, you would say. And in those days it was swing. He was the swing era. He gave me the love for swing. Because to me, I like jazz, but I even more like swing. It's more light to me, less deep somehow. It's more like joyful. I like the joy in the swing. He was the one who insisted that I should get some kind of a training. So my parents advised me to take the classical way. And I'm deeply thankful for that, because it gave me an even wider knowledge about the musical world. And just reading music is a huge advantage when you're out there professionally. And when I studied the classical with this very strict teacher, I could then see that I could also play other things than classical on the piano. I could play film themes, I could compose. So I said I would like to have a job within music. And my other teacher, who was not the classical, one who taught me the hammered organ, he was a musician playing in hotels for dancing, for dinners, piano bars. That was his profession. And I admired him. He was, to me, like an idol. So that was my introduction to the hotels and that business. My repertoire was also a little bit in that direction because my teacher would teach me what he would feel comfortable playing. So I had a huge repertoire from him on my hammered organ that I could either use on the hammered organ or transfer to the piano. So I said, I would like to be something with music. I want to have a work. And I'm going to see if I can find a piano bar. And then my dad said, that's okay, but you have to promise me it is a 5-star hotel. Because I don't want my daughter to play in a pub. A little pub, with beers and so he said, if it has to be anything, it must be a 5-star hotel. And I lived in a place where we had two, one to the left and one to the right. So, and when you are so young, I did not really fear. I just said, oh yeah, okay, I will do that. So I took my bicycle and I had made an appointment on the phone with both right and left hotel. And I went to the right one first. And the manager was very kind and would call me back. And then I cycled in the other direction and I had another meeting with another manager. And he said to me, you know what, he said, on Saturday our regular pianist cannot come. So why don't you come and try? And if it goes well, then you're hired. So I cycled back and I said, Dad, I have a work in a hotel and it's a 5-star one. And my father looked very sad and he said, oh no, I was sure when I said a 5-star hotel, you would not get that work and you would not start doing this so early at such an early age. But when you say A, you say B. So he had to accept because I had complied with his demands and then I was allowed to start. So that was how it came about.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is it like playing in hotels and playing for, travelers, this jet set audience? What is the whole hotel life like?
Yeah, I don't think there is such a big difference. I mean, if we say it's the same person who's sitting in a cafe or he's traveling, it's still the same person deep inside. So the musical taste is just as varied, no matter where you are. Where there are many people, you have many different tastes in music. And yes, I was playing, and I still do, and for hotel guests. But guest is such a huge variety. I don't think you can put them in a box and say that's a hotel guest. I mean, it's a person. But very often when you play in hotels, you would maybe also encourage the guests to make requests. I mean, there is such a wonderful contact. It's more intimate because I would, and I still do, often circulate and chat a little bit to the guests, find out their dreams, their hopes, and maybe a favorite song, maybe a memory that's attached to a special melody or whatever. And it is such a pleasure if I have that in my repertoire and I can then play it, but not only play it, but play it in my way. I mean, present for that person or that group my own edition of songs that they would know. And to see the response and maybe the fascination or surprise or the harmony, it's really, really interesting to present the music in that way. And it creates a bond. And I very much like that warming atmosphere that there is in a room where you have a bond with your audience. maybe there is a repeat customer who comes the next week. And when you see the person coming in the door, if his favorite song was Streets of London, if it's possible, I would try to play it when the person is coming in. But of course, if I'm playing another song, I will finish it, but then present, and the person feel welcome. Whoa, she remembered my favorite song. The smile that I get is so rewarding. And to me, it's much more than playing music. It's also about reflecting kindness and love via my talent. And I often thank, because I believe in God, I thank God for this amazing talent I've been given that I can share, and via this I can send love and good vibes out. It's nice.
Wow.
It's nice.
It really is very special, and I really meet very few people who do anything even close to what you do. And it's amazing that it sounds like you had a teacher who was doing this that inspired you, and you saw like, oh, I can have this big repertoire and play for people. And so that's just so lucky that you had that experience early on with that teacher and could start doing it and living the dream, really. I mean, so many people are musicians and they don't have an outlet, really, beyond just doing it for themselves. They aren't able to do it in the world like you are. I started crying a little bit when you were talking about that. It's so beautiful. So let's see. We talked about the hotels and your amazing job that you've had playing for people, and yeah, having this. It's different. It's more intimate. I hear that, the way you describe that. I'm the musician and you're the audience, and I play the same thing and go on tour, and it's a lot more flexible what you do. You have a lot of control. Yeah, so about the album. So there's a couple other credits on the album. There's another lyricist on a couple songs, and there's a hand drummer on some of the songs. And so how did those people, what was it like working with them, and did you know them before?
When the album came out, first of all, in Denmark, all of a sudden we started having carnival. That came, well, it had been, a little bit, but it became bigger and bigger. And on the square where we had the town hall in Copenhagen, all of a sudden we saw bigger and bigger parties during carnival. And people would be dancing and getting dressed up for all this. And you would have the music from the carnival, like Brazil, where you would have bongo drums, and it's another style. And I was fascinated by that too, as well as the nature and the love. So I wanted to put a little bit of that in my LP, my album. And that is the reason for the bongo drums. Where I could find small solos, I would incorporate them. And with my respect for the manually played, I thought bongo drums are so advanced, they should not be programs, they should be played by a live musician. Had I been able to do it myself, I would have. But it's another life, So I am the keys, and so therefore I got in contact with one of the people that I really admired. This person, Perry, was playing in the Tivoli Gardens. On the big stage, he was playing with a band there, and it was from him his permanent work, a bit similar to me and myself in the hotels. He was very acknowledged and very good, and I was very happy that he accepted my invitation to come and do the drums on 2 of the tracks on my album. So that's the story behind that.
the lyricist, the other lyricist on a couple of the songs?
Yes, to be completely honest, that was of course a lack of time. Because when I was in the recording studio, they wanted it to finish, and we added 2 songs, 2 more melodies, more or less last minute. And I was busy doing all the arrangements and all this with my multi-track recorder, and could not really find the time for doing the lyrics as well. So we called somebody who did them for me. But I had a meeting with him, and especially in the amidst number 3, I was impressed by that. He managed to incorporate nature and love, just from what I explained to him that I would like to reflect. So and I think he did a really good job, especially on that one. It's only 2 that he's done the lyrics for. The other ones are mine.
So when you worked with the lyricist, did you have a few lyrics that you had started, or just the idea?
Yeah, like a half lyric that I would present. It was lack of time. And then maybe that's something that I regret a little bit, that I did not get the possibility to write all the lyrics, because that would have been maybe even nicer to say they're all 100% mine. If it had been now, I would probably have insisted. But at 19, it's easier to go with the flow, and everyone says, come on, call somebody. And the clock was ticking, so that's how it came.
Yeah, I could see that. But it's also fun to collaborate with somebody.
Yes.
But I hear why that had a little bit of a disappointment for time's sake.
Yeah, I think in those days I didn't think about it, but because there's focus on the album again, and I get asked, and I think, yes, I could have done that myself, So, but it's not a big regret, like you say. It was also in a way beautiful to try to work with another person with my own ideas and see how we met so beautifully. It was still harmonizing. Maybe like to focus a little bit on my love for the hammered organ, if I may.
Oh, please, yes, absolutely.
Because I think, apart from the piano, the organ is still one of my favorite instruments, and is still being played. And you cannot play the hammered organ and program it. It's impossible. Just like with the grand piano. And it's a while ago that I listened to this record. I took it up because of your kind invitation to take part in this interview, and I feel very honored for that. And when I listen to my album, I would always like to take it up again with the hammered organ. I haven't had time to really give it a lot of vitamins. But my solos on the album with the Hammond organ, I think they are really, really brilliant. And I focused a lot on them when I did it. It's such a beautiful instrument.
Yeah, I love the Hammond solos too. I love
Yeah,
the
thank
solos
you.
on the album. Everything is so fully formed, so fully arranged, and then you have the solos too. It's just wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
So I actually was wondering that when I was listening and I was hearing the solos. I was thinking like, I wonder what Anna Tina thinks now, listening back, and if you still like what you did. I can't know if you would or not. You know, that's totally
Yeah.
subjective and personal. But I'm glad that you're proud of it.
I feel they're very sparkling. They're very spontaneous and sparkling, and the technique is good. I didn't know that I played so good those days. Maybe other people would think the same, but I'm quite kind of impressed by my little Anatina that she was capable of doing that. So yeah, I understand why she was happy doing the album.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were a professional pianist already in hotels, so I mean, obviously you had very good chops as a soloist too. So that's something that you listened back and you felt like was well executed, and you can hear the energy in it that you can appreciate now too. Is there anything else that you, when you listen back, that you wished that you would have done differently?
When I listen, it's amazing. It's like a rendezvous with myself. Because in life we change along the way. We get experiences, we change maybe an opinion or the way we look. Everything changes, nothing stays the same. That's life. So when I listen to this, it's kind of, I'm going, hello Anatina, and I'm so pleased to meet you again, and I can understand myself from another point of view. Now I'm like the mother looking at the child inside of me, or the younger girl who was doing this, and I see my dreams, my hopes, my longing for the freedom, yeah, and the way I trusted my heart, and I feel a lot of love for that little girl who did that. So yeah, I just feel like a rendezvous, and it's nice to remember, because I think as we move on, we forget how we were younger. It's like you live in the now, or you remember 5 years back, but not so long back as this, 19, and I'm just turned around 60 now. So for me, it is nice to see that I never gave up. I always kept going for my dreams, and many of them came true, and I'm sure it was because I believed so much in them. I think it that proves this, that we have now, live in the now, meditation, connect with the universe. I was just so positive in my heart, so I couldn't see it could go wrong. It had to be going right, and so it did. I wanted to travel. That was one, I think many younger people really want to see the world. And there I traveled the world. I was 14 years on board a cruise ship playing the piano, and 10 of those years I was with a company that specialized in the adventure cruises. And they would have a really good following. Many of the passengers would come back again and again. So every year they made a new brochure. And the people doing the public relations, the PR, would try always to present new ports of call, so that the passengers, if they came back, would see more of the world. That was the main goal for the cruising, was to see new places. So for us, working on the ship, the longer we stayed, the more we saw. Many pianists or musicians stay 1 or 2 years, then they build a family. I was maybe so specialized in my love, was more focused on the music, sharing it, and the seeing the world, my dream. So I stayed for 14. Again, I do things maybe more. I want more. But in the end, it was then I thought, okay, now I would like to live on land. So I left the ship, and now I live on the island of the Gomera in the Canary Islands. And that was an island that I got to know through cruising. One of the places where, when I saw it the first time, I thought, ooh, this could be a nice place later on for living permanent. And here I am.
This question is from Mark, who does this podcast. He was asking, what values do you continue to retain in your day-to-day life that you can attribute to navigating adulthood as an artist? It's a lot of words. But yeah, you've thought about this.
Yeah, I thought about it a little bit. And I think for me, I have always found, like I said, a lot of inspiration in the nature. And I also need solitude, quietness, peace of mind. Many of these things, for instance, when I compose, I don't really feel that it's me composing the melodies. I feel more that they're being written through me. And I think the only way to have that creativity in your heart and your mind and the fingers, for me, I need peace in mind. I need to connect with beauty. And I find so much beauty in the nature, so much abundance. Imagine a waterfall. I mean, how much abundance do you have in that water? Or a little river flowing, isn't that so amazingly delicate and beautiful and cute? And the birds are singing. Maybe a rabbit is passing by. I mean, if you sit there quietly on a stone and meditate and just watch the nature, what it offers, it gives me so much inspiration and so much power. And it could be a love song about a love of my life or something, but I combine it with the nature and the beauty to create harmony and loving kindness.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Anna-Tina, for meeting with me. Yeah, giving this a shot with me, really came out of nowhere. Probably you're like, oh, who are these people?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored by this invitation, and I'm so flattered that you focus on this early recording in my life, and that you like it.